This morning's passport with our very own Nadia Bilchik. Nadia? Nadia has a story. I guarantee that most of you have never heard about this, but when you're an orphan in China, you can sometimes be given very demeaning names that you have to live with your entire life.
Yes, now in China particularly, what they call orphans, up until now, there's new regulation, is Deng and Guo, which means party or state.
So they name you, but basically that's the Communist Party kind of
Absolutely.
thing. You're the property of our state.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this year, the Ministry of Civil Affairs have said we are no longer going to do that. Children in orphanages, in fact, are prohibited from being called party or state. They will rather be given the surnames or the last names of 100 of the most popular Chinese last names. Now, it's interesting, one particular orphanage said that up until 2010, every single orphan was called, or their last name was, party, because, as you just said, they owed their lives to the party. And one particular welfare worker said, we don't want children to grow up in orphanages to carry labels that imply they are different from those who have parents.
What an enlightened thing to say.
Exactly. Now, of course, that goes with them throughout their lives. So now there are about 100,000 children in 900 orphanages throughout China. So it really is going to impact a lot of children.
Does this happen in other countries?
You know, in India last year, I did a story about little girls who were called Nakusha or Nakushi, which in Hindi meant unwanted. And up until last year, that had been their names. So only in the year 2011 were they given names for the first time that didn't identify them as being unwanted. So certainly in China, change in regulation later this year will be implemented, and these children will have surnames that have so much more dignity than simply party or state.
What has led to this sudden enlightenment?
I think psychologists and welfare workers, the China Daily particularly says that this move shows the government is paying more attention to these children's psychological needs, which helps their development. So certainly some kind of movement to understand what are the long-term ramifications. And it brings us to think, what's in a name, Gary Tuchman?
Yeah, well, I mean, Tuchman in Chinese means of the state. Oh, you didn't know that?
Oh, well, now I do.
Yeah, I mean, that's the startling, that's why I'm sitting here with you.
And do you know what your first name means, Gary?
Gary? It's a British name.
And do we know, does it mean king or queen or...
Oh, definitely king.
Definitely king.
Yeah, definitely
because
king.
I know Nadia means hope.
Tell me what, I'm not
hope
sure.
Hope or gift.
Really?
Yes, so it's always interesting to know, what does your name mean? What does a family name mean? And what does it mean to have a wonderful new last name? So there's going to be a whole generation of Chinese orphans who are going to be much more proud of their names than they ever were before.
Well, I can tell you, so I sound somewhat informed, that Tuchman, I do know what that means.
Yes.
So Tuchman's a German name, and Tuch means, and German speakers would know this, means cloth or clothes, so it's cloth man.
So cloth man,
I'm a man of the cloth.
Well, that says a lot about your warmth and your wisdom.
Well, Nadia, thank you very much. You should be my agent. Nadia Bilchik, thank you very much for joining us. It's great talking to you.
It's always good to talk about what's in a name.
It very much is. And this is an inspiring story, too, because they've finally seen the light in China. Give kids some dignity.